The management response is as follows, Mr. Chairman. For the reference period, the Trans Nzoia County Nawiri Fund Board did not consider loans issued out through Nawiri Fund as risky, and therefore resolved not to insure. Following the prior year's experiences, Nawiri program was redesigned to mitigate the inherent risk of default by loanees through the adoption of a loaning strategy that is tied to LPO/LSO financing, which is linked by the bank and IFMIS system to facilitate automatic recovery of loan amounts. However, the board, to conform with the law, the board intends to ensure that all future loans issued are insured in accordance with the provisions of the Act. We've put an Appendix 3, which is an extract of the minutes of the board discussing the issue of the loan, and of course Appendix 4, which is a design of the loan agreement form. So, Mr. Chairman, the remarks I wanted to add.
Next, read the next.
The next one.
The next one, then you can make the comments together, because they are very related.
On the long outstanding receivables from the exchequer, from exchange transactions, the management response is as follows. The fund confirms the details of the outstanding receivables in table 1. Number 1, bus park, 8,000. 2, Umak Cottage Industries, 23,500. Romish Electricals, 30,000. Number 4, Simeyu Mabonga Gumbei, 20,000. 5, Violet Nanjala, 40,000. 6, Mary Namweya Wakoli, 5,000. Wilkesa Nekesa, number 7, 5,000. Beatrice Hasandi, number 8, 5,000. Daniel Legosi, number 9, 5,000. Lilian Musheti, number 10, 13,000. And Patrick Wanyonyi, number 11, 5,500. Total, 160,000. There have been attempts to recover these loans, but the count has not been successful. Therefore, we have now embarked on the process of having these debts written off through a process that will culminate in a final approval in the county assembly. We have attached Appendix 11, which are demand letters issued out to defaulters, and Appendix number 12, the request to write off the debts, because they've been outstanding for too long.
So go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, what we've developed as a strategy in Trans Nzoia is that there is this 30% APO that has not been working very well because the people who are targeted do not have capital to do business with the county governments. So using Nawiri, we've developed a strategy where groups who qualify under ACUP arrangement, once they're given an LSO, they benefit from this fund, the Nawiri fund. We give them sufficient funds to execute the tender. They are paid through the same account, and we're able to deduct our funds. So there's very little room for defaults, almost foolproof. Actually, for the first financial year, there was no default. We are looking at now the current financial year, see if they're going to be any defaults, almost foolproof. And we're also giving to groups. So if one member of a group dies, like you stated here, those to cover those risks, death, incapacity, inability to pay, we really sorted them out. Previously, of course, we'll give money to individuals, and they'll just disappear. Or we give them to the groups, they default. But when you attempt to recover this money, especially around election time, I will many defaults around 2017. When people are told those who are government funds do not pay, or an open startup and say, if I'm elected governor, I'll ensure that you don't pay. So people did not pay. And that's why we went to this other way. We give you money, and we give you a tender. So the chances of default are almost zero. They're very, very minimal.
Auditor, your take on that response?
Thank you, Chair. I find it quite innovative, the issue of LSO, LPO financing, especially for the AGPO. What we shall be doing in the current financial year is to find out of the 48, or is it 49 million issued towards in May last year, our auditors who are on the ground are checking whether there are any defaults, whether there has been 100% recovery. Then if we find the defaults, then we might insist on, again, on the issue of insurance being undertaken, which was already in the policy. So probably then they also need to change the policy to remove the issue of insurance. Thank you, Chair.
Senators, any comment, any take?
Chair.
Rachimera?
Chair, I know I listened to Governor Natembeya speaking about Nawiri Fund for the second time, I think. The first time I heard him was in another committee, cohesion. And they spoke so passionately about this fund, I actually thought this was your idea. I didn't know you actually found it in office. My question, Governor, is I'm looking at the demand letters that have been done to those people who've been defaulting. They are fairly recent, 18th May 2023, I think all of them bear the same date. But then again, these monies that were advanced to these people happened sometime in 2016. I don't think you are governor there. And I'm concerned that the figures that you are demanding from these people, most of them is 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. I think the highest I've seen is 40,000 shillings. This to me already would be a concern because I'm trying to imagine which LPO or LSO would attract financing of 5,000 or 40,000 shillings. So perhaps, Governor, in your administration now, this is a bit historical. How have you tied the rollout of this loan? Is it that somebody applies and it is specifically tied to that particular tender has been given? Because I can imagine giving someone 5,000 was just as good as giving a token to go and drink busa somewhere in Kitale and not to do a tender. So I don't know, in your current administration, do you give this fund pegged on an actual LPO, an LCO? Are there safeguards? Are you doing a joint escrow account perhaps? Are you paying suppliers directly? So then you recall what is your interest and what the young man who is the tenderpreneur is left with goes to him. We just want to see the safeguards of these funds so that we don't end up writing many demand letters and ordinarily they will never pay because to them this is political financing. They will say this is our money, we are not paying. And there's nothing much you can do to them. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Any other senator? If none,
what the governor has explained is very innovative. So maybe the OIG, and if this one works, maybe it is something that you can also sell the idea across the Council of Governors, because basically it's like you are giving your constituents a loan to do work, which is basically a soft loan. So if it works, then you can roll it over, because what I know generally, when you give money to groups and youth, even the youth fund and the women enterprise fund, they don't pay generally. It's just like the ASLA fund. So, but if you, it's like an incentive. You are giving them to work, and you give. And this is what the governor told us when we were in Kitale, that he was going to ensure that they get contracts, and then you deduct automatically. So okay. It's a good way of helping your people.
okay. Any other senator, we proceed? I think we proceed, Governor.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Senator Chimera. When you look at 5,000, 5,000, 10,000, really, it was a joke. Because if the government, you give somebody 5,000, they'll just go to the nearest hotel, eat chicken, and go home. And even the amount of money you'll spend chasing 5,000 will actually be more. And that's why we changed the entire strategy. We're now giving a minimum of 250,000. And it's based on the procurement plan. Every department will have a procurement plan for their 30% APO. That's where the money is derived from. This is true empowerment. And indeed, Nawiri was not my innovation. I found it a good idea. And for me, I don't suffer insecurities that you go to a county, your colleagues started a project, and you don't complete it because you think they're going to take political credit for it. If it's a good idea, we just made it better. And I believe it's going to change the lives of our people. The main objective for this, what informed our decision to embrace this, was that you look at people who are doing contracts with governments. You'll find one individual doing very many jobs with different companies, but just one individual. But you look at our people, they don't know how to do business with the county government. They've got no idea. They think it's a very complicated thing. And that's why we are saying we are going to give this Nawiri funds to groups, not to individuals. And those groups are used as avenues for training, how to do tenders. So you do one, and when they come to the office, they don't just send the chairman or the official, they come. If the group of 20, you all come, and you are taken through the process of procurement. So that the following year, when you have capital, you don't have to come as a group, because you know how you're going to do this work. You understand how to do business with that was the essence, and that was the objective, other than, of course, empowerment.
Okay. Just for the clarity for me, because you know, any meeting that we go through here, we actually do document, and we follow up on everything that we say. If you give recommendations, we will take the recommendations seriously. If we don't give you, we will also take it seriously. In our meeting with you on 30th November 2023, you indicated here that there was a Trans Nzoia Catalyst Youth and Trans Nzoia County Youth and Women Development Fund, if you remember, and you had a very big challenge with that fund. Just for the clarity of this committee, is it the same fund? And what is the status of that one?
The Youth and Women Fund is not operational.
Not operational, or it was dissolved? These are two different things.
Huh? It's a process with the chairman.
Because you know there is a winding up process that is duly by law. And because I'm seeing this Nawiri thing, or fund, doing the same thing. Right?
The process of winding up the Youth Women Fund is underway. Because we don't just do things because we are doing, you know, don't even check that for any impact. And focus